Hi, and welcome once again to the Undercast Show. We're joined today by our usual cast of Greg,
Hi.
Joey,
What's up?
Cody,
Hey,
and myself, Christian. I got a few things to talk about today. Stan Lee is dead.
Yep.
Stan Lee was a great man. He used to be alive. He made a lot of cool stuff, and now he's dead.
95 dead.
No more cool stuff from Stan Lee.
They don't yet know
Unless
what
he's
killed
Walt Disney.
him. I mean, he's 95, so like a fucking anything could kill him. A strong breeze, but
Yeah, it's probably old
they
age.
said he was
right?
rushed to the hospital and then died there. But as of like an hour ago, they don't know what it was. They haven't. Well, let me rephrase that. We don't know what it was. I'm sure he knows what it was or did. His family probably knows, but they haven't released it.
It was
I
probably
know
some
his last
blackjack and some hooker.
words were.
Actually, forget the blackjack.
I'd like to think that they were Excelsior, but it was probably more like, "Ow, oof, my bones. I'm gonna die."
I bet you he said,
Ow.
now this is pod racing. Then he just died.
Was he a Star Wars fan?
I don't know, probably.
I think him and John Boyega had a falling out after he stole John Boyega's classic phrase of saying, "Now this is pod racing." These fucking inside
Hello.
these inside jokes are not gonna make sense.
No.
to anyone else.
Who cares?
It doesn't matter.
Whatever.
It's fake news.
I think haven't they already filmed the next? I know you had said something, Joey, but they already filmed the new Avengers movie that's gonna come out. So I think he's already in that one.
Hmm.
Right.
That's what
I
it was
heard
for.
somewhere that they like 3D rendered him, so they can just CGI him into every movie now for like ever, or however the fuck you do that.
I don't know.
I heard that somewhere.
Apparently he made a cameo in the PS4 Spider-Man game. And if you can make it into a video game, which like it's a pretty demanding graphics-wise video game, you could probably put yourself into a movie.
I think it's the voice,
Greg, you're
right?
comparing-
Like his lines.
You're comparing him being in a movie or him being in a video game to him being in a movie. I'm not doubting that they can do it, but I think that's a dumb comparison to make. If I'm being
Nah.
completely honest.
Well, I'm doing a whole paper on the whole I'm doing a white paper on the face swaps technology, like fake app and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And like, you just got to get an old guy that kind of looks like him.
You put his face on him.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's the lines, right? Like he's not gonna be able to say any more lines unless
You're
they
not gonna-
have him recording every possible word.
They probably had. I mean, considering Disney was taking over production at that point, they probably were like, "Stan Lee, you're an old ass man. We need you to just sit down and just say all these things for us, and we might need them at some point." How much of it was just him going
You gotta be
Excelsior?
prepared.
Yeah. I mean, like here's the thing, right? And it was different with the actor that. Okay, so you guys remember Grand Moff Tarkin in Star Wars?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so when you see Rogue One, Grand Moff Tarkin is in that, and seeing like a beloved character who is played by a long dead beloved actor rendered in this like really unsettling, like uncanny valley CGI, I didn't like it at all personally. I understood that like they couldn't just get, or they felt like they couldn't just get a replacement actor because it was such a role that was defined by the guy who played him. But at the same time, he looked like a fucking weird alien. It was a lot. It was a lot to take in because no one else in the movie is like so obviously CGI'd. Even the monsters looked more real than that. The guy playing the big android or the big droid looked more real than Grand Moff Tarkin.
What about when the thing of Leia, right, where she says, hope, she does that little cameo.
Yeah, that kind of falls into the same boat for me. It's something about it. I think it falls under different strokes for different folks, but for me, I don't really like it that much. I feel like Stan Lee's dead. No more Stan Lee cameos. Maybe they can have like posters of Stan Lee be cameos.
Well,
Like
is it Princess Leia going to be in the next Star Wars? Like,
I'm still
is
not
that
sure
what-
how they're doing that. They didn't have enough recorded of her to make a movie out of it, so she's gonna have to be like CG'd somehow. Is it just gonna be like offset footage of Carrie Fisher, like she's just sitting with her dog in her fucking trailer, and she's just in the background while the rest of the movie Star Wars is itself?
Does Stanley have a son?
his daughter, I think.
Done.
Her daughter's got to pick up all the cameos now.
That would be kind of. I actually see what I was saying is like they make it so that a plaque or an image or some sort of tasteful memoriam of Stan Lee appears in every movie from now on. But I actually kind of like the idea of his daughter now being the cameo. That's cool.
The first cameo is her like mourning over a gravestone.
They could make it canon
That's
that he got killed by the snap.
Ooh.
And then, but
that's
then in the
good.
next movie, when everyone comes back, one of the after credit scenes is his daughter standing over the gravestone, and like he didn't come back. He didn't come back from the snap. He stayed dead. Gone forever.
It's deep.
He went to join the Watchers.
Oh man, there's a lot of people who have died this year. I'm looking at the list right now. It's pretty.
Extensive.
Pretty sure a lot of people die every year.
Yeah, but
Greg,
you know,
smartass, you know
don't
exactly
talk
what we mean.
Famous people? A ton of famous people
Yeah,
died
Stephen
in 2017,
Hawking,
2016 too.
McCain,
Was John McCain a real
Avicii,
person?
Greg. Oh, Avicii died. I forgot.
Greg,
Oh,
your
yeah.
idol.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. We found out about that at your apartment last year or last semester.
Really?
Yeah,
At Christian?
yeah. Because we were watching some movie and then someone pulled up Reddit and was like, "Oh no, Avicii's dead," and then we moved on with our days like we do with every famous death.
I was the same one where my roommate. That was right before we watched Get Out, and then my roommate was cleaning her litter box right next to the TV at 10:30 at night when there was an entire room of people watching a fucking movie, like the dumb bitch that she was.
But we ended up watching Thor that night.
Didn't we watch 2 movies?
Maybe could have watched both.
I'm-
Thor.
I'm-
Stan Lee
I'm-
was in that one.
It's a Marvel movie, so yeah, he was in it. Good eye, Greg. Keen eye.
All circular. Life is circular.
I actually do. I like Joey's idea of Stanley's daughter being the new cameo person.
Yeah, dude.
I don't know.
What did she have to do with these heroes, though? You know.
She's Stanley's daughter. What are they gonna? Are
I
they gonna
guess so.
fucking rip Jack Kirby's corpse out of the ground and have him do the cameos? Like,
Maybe just like no more. I don't know.
well, that's the thing is they either have some other like tradition that they continue sort of in memoriam, but they keep it tasteful, or they just cut it. They're like, all right, well, now we're now in a post Stan Lee Marvel universe.
Yeah.
I
You're
can't
not-
imagine a universe where that exists.
Marvel's got tons of AUs, dude. There's got to be one of them where there's no Stan Lee.
Dude, maybe Stanley was just such a god amongst men. Every universe had to have him.
Because that's the thing is people were thinking that they were going to work him into the lore. Because you see in I think it's one of the Guardians of the Galaxies
Yeah.
where
he's
he's
a
with the
watcher.
Watchers. Like that's kind of significant,
Mm,
That's not just like a goof. That's something that happened. But,
Right.
I mean, if they had any plans, they've already done it.
what if Stanley is like the Morgan Freeman to the Marvel universe, where like he just narrates things and things happen?
He is. Has he ever narrated anything in the Marvel universe?
I don't think he's literally I'm pretty sure he's narrated nothing.
I don't consider him Morgan. Morgan Freeman is like a. Morgan Freeman doesn't really represent anything when he's in movies nowadays. He's just there to be Morgan Freeman.
Stanley had
was-
a pretty terrible last year.
See, because
It's like-
I hadn't heard about his health. Was his health just like on the decline in a big way?
Well, his health was fine as far as I understand, but it was like all these lawsuits from people around him. You know, they're all trying to get his.
Was it like old stuff or?
It's just like his lawyer was trying to extort. He had a person that was caring for him inside his house, right? That was taking care of him. And I guess like that person was like abusing him or some shit. Shit.
See, I heard about that, but I heard the opposite. I heard that the whole abuse scandal was like fake, and he came out and was like, "Yeah, I'm not being abused or anything. Y'all are fucking nuts." He made a
I
post
get it.
saying that.
Yeah. I do know that the lawyer battles and stuff that he's been going through last year has been pretty weird. He almost quit too. He almost quit before he when he was like 40. Like quit comic books all.
It was like 5 decades ago.
Yeah, I know, right?
And boy, are we sure glad he didn't.
Craig, you corny piece of shit. It's a fucking.
Yeah.
It's such a douchey like PSA thing to say.
Let me see.
Someone was gonna say it. Figured it might as well be me. So
How it
like,
works.
yeah, like don't do drugs, kids, and stuff.
Yeah, but did you have to
The-
give a tonal thumbs up when you did it, like smiling for the camera? I feel like you did that in real life.
No.
I
Yes.
was gonna say, I hear the waver in your voice. You are every Christian back to school special.
So
And you are a Christian.
you are what you eat. Okay. BlizzCon.
BlizzCon.
There's,
But see, unfortunately, this part of the podcast is only going to be available on mobile. If there's any complaints about that, I mean, like you got a phone. I don't see why you have a reason to complain.
guys have phones. Well, so I thought for the BlizzCon stuff we could just go down by property and like talk about the new stuff and like thoughts
You
on
want
it.
to start with Diablo?
Nah, we should end with Diablo. Talk about WoW. You guys talk
Talk
WoW. Talk about WoW.
Wow,
All right.
there's a lot of lore stuff. Joey, I'm gonna.
All right. Start off with the Lost Honor cinematic, right?
Mhm.
First off, cinematic work is just phenomenal now. Like the amount of detail they put into it, like the lighting, the freaking textures on the faces and shit, like dude, everything looks so incredibly good.
When I saw Stormwind Harbor, I just about made a mess in my chair.
Well, it's like Blizzard's always been good at the cinematics stuff like that. Like, I mean,
You look at their cinematics from like 2000. Like think about the WoW, like the original World of Warcraft cinematic. That shit's from like they made it. They started making it, I think, in like 2000.
Yeah,
It's
that's
so
right.
fucking. It's incredible. Just looking back on that, and then I mean, you go to now, and it's
like, dude,
they've obviously immeasurably improved. It's not just the regular cinematics stuff. Like their in-game cinematics are
Mm,
just. I don't know. I think they're pretty great.
Yeah, for sure.
Considering how massive of like it's not a game that's made to be flashy, but it still has like these really awesome cinematics and in-game cuts.
Yeah.
I've
I
been
forget
waiting for
what-
this Sourfang storyline forever.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like, I mean, I dropped out of WoW because it felt like every Horde leader, once Garrosh got into the thing, was just like, I'm gonna be a dick because I can be a dick.
I'll never
And-
forget them for what they did for Vol'jin.
Oh yeah, no, me neither. But like, it's like Garrosh was just being a complete dick to everyone because he could, and then now Sylvanas is being a complete dick to everyone because she can. And it's just like,
It's
Dude,
completely
like-
within their characters to act the way that they're acting. It's not like it's out of character for Garrosh or Sylvanas to be doing the things they're doing.
no, but I mean, like, it's just like, dude, you're making everyone hate you. Like
don't
you're like half your own like people hate you now. Like, why are you?
Well, Garrosh's deal was that he was a ruthless warlord. He's always been a ruthless warlord. He was raised by a ruthless warlord, and unlike him, he didn't have that whole end of Warcraft 3, or Warcraft 2, I think, Blood of Manaroth cinematic to like get him to learn his lesson. He didn't go on any sort of vision quest with Thrall. He just stayed this big fucking brute idiot. Sylvanas is like this fucked up. Think of how many times Sylvanas was literally like tortured and basically died, and she saw the face of death and realized that like she was absolutely not going anywhere nice when she died. She was going to the WoW equivalent of hell, and now she's just on this fucking crusade to never die, which is, I think it's like one of the purest motivations in the game, but she's also just one of the worst characters.
Greg, do you know what they're talking about, by the way?
Kinda.
Greg's
All
somewhat
right.
familiar with it. He knows about trees burning down, and he has an unfortunate distaste for night elves, which I
What,
disagree
California
with.
or?
No, Teldrassil. Teldrassil burnt down before
California.
California.
I'm pretty sure
That's
California
Wait,
burned
wait,
down
why
multiple
did she
times.
burn it in the first place? I never caught that.
Wasn't it just like
It was
'cause
the
she
seed of
could?
it was the seed of the Night Elf power. She literally was it was a power move. Because
And
she was afraid of Malfurion and Sylvanas, and in general just the Night Elves, because they were like
do you mean
at least from like
Yeah,
a magical standpoint, they're like
she is Sylvanas.
yeah. From like a magical standpoint, they are the sort of the center point for the alliance. You know, you have like the
Yeah.
Kirin Tor, but they're all over the fucking place. So she was more just proving that, hey, you're not fucking safe in any of these places where you think you're safe. And also just as a big horde move, I mean, the Horde and Alliance have been fighting over Northern Kalimdor since before World of Warcraft was even a game.
War
No.
Song Gulch.
Dude. Okay, we gotta have you and Joey just do like a lore episode.
Lore, you ready for
We
this?
should talk about news maybe.
All right, well, when are you
Well,
going to
I mean,
start talking
this
about Wii
was
Sports lore?
Wii Sports lore. Alright.
All right.
As far as WoW stuff, I will. I had one more thing that I wanted
go,
to
go,
say
go.
about
No,
some
no,
of the stuff
yeah,
they
go for
announced.
it.
I'm just trying to. I got kind of lost thinking about what it is.
Lost Honor.
I was saying I love the direction that they're taking. With I don't know if you saw, Joey, the cinematic about
Terror of Darkshore,
yeah.
where Malfurion just beats the shit out of a horde caravan.
So I have been literally saying for ages that the Night Elves are like dark. That sounds dumb as shit to say. It's like, oh, these Night Elves are dark, but the game's been painting them as like these magical fairy elves who don't want violence for ages, and it's like they're pretty brutal. You know, you saw Druids in Warcraft 3 literally like using roots to just rip orcs apart.
Yeah.
And I've been waiting to see that shit again for a long time. And now we see like Malfurion and Tyrande like coming out of the forest and actually just like obliterating a horde squadron, leaving the last guy alive, looking him in the eye and being like, yo, you tell your fucking leaders we're coming for him. And so now he's just this like crazy troll in a tent, like sipping some water.
Please.
What did he
Lord.
keep saying? He was basically like praying to the Loa.
Yeah. He was like, please don't take me. He's like, please.
I like the direction they're taking the expansion. A lot of people have had problems with like mechanical stuff this X back, like the way that they have Azerite working. But I think from a lore standpoint and a content standpoint, it's a great expansion.
Yeah, no, I agree. All right.
Well, maybe what's up with WoW Classic?
Classic WoW. I don't remember what release date they gave, or like tentative release date, but the demo was super successful.
Summer 2019.
Yeah, summer. That sounds about right.
Yeah, it's somewhere in 2019.
The demo that they released was hugely popular. If it's kind of too late at this point because they're already working on it. But if they ever needed proof that Classic WoW was an on-demand thing, just look at the numbers for the demo. Because keep in mind, you can only access the WoW Classic demo if you purchased a BlizzCon ticket or the BlizzCon Online ticket. That's just kind of steep. That's like what, $50?
Yeah.
That's like a lot. And there are tons of forum posts of people talking about they just bought it for the Classic demo.
Well, okay, so what it is? You're gonna have to explain to me, like, what is this Classic demo? I'm not even.
The Classic, the demo was just of what they're working on. The way the way the Classic WoW is going to work, it's vanilla WoW. The one thing they haven't touched on is how they're going to handle patches, because WoW patches are like big and they change things in the world. They change like where things are. Like in vanilla, you had the first patch was about just getting everybody ready for war, and then you went into like Ragnaros and the Molten Core, and then you started getting towards like Naxxramas or the Gates of Ahn'Qiraj, and then Naxxramas. These are all like raids. That's kind of how the patches are organized, and it changes things in the world and where NPCs are. They haven't said how they're going to work patch progression yet. Just something to note on. But in general, the way it's going to work is it's going to be adjacent to a regular WoW subscription. Like a regular WoW subscription will also get you a subscription to Classic WoW.
Yeah.
They're two different servers. They're like distinct things. It's definitely going to be its own tab in Battle.net, similar to how they have like StarCraft 2 redone and they have the Warcraft 3 Reforged thing coming out, which we'll talk about later. So yeah, and then you'll just have your standard stuff in. It's going to be pretty similar to how private servers run vanilla WoW right now, where it's just there's no like account bound stuff in the game. There's no like cheatsy new World of Warcraft cuts. They had talk last year about whether or not they wanted to use the new the new like player character models in Vanilla WoW, and I think the massively resounding answer was, "What the fuck is wrong with you? Why would you even consider that?" Like
Right.
defeating have just imagine these like 2018 super high res models with like wireframe animations, and they're in the middle of all this like 2004 blocky bullshit. It's not just the quality of the graphics, so like the graphical style was different in the days of Vanilla WoW. It was more coming off of that like Warcraft 3 dirty and grungy PC game RTS feel, and you took that and just like microed it down so that you were the unit. So it looked like bad and blocky to a lot of people, but it was it was its own art style. So they're going back to that, which I think a lot of people are happy about.
Right. It's nostalgic, right?
Yeah, it's definitely nostalgic, but the thing is, it goes beyond nostalgia because it's just straight up a different game.
Right. Like
And
it's
there's
changed so much in the last.
yeah, like it's been through so many expansions and so many changes to like the core concepts of the game. It's definitely not the same thing. Coming from
Yeah.
someone who plays both a decent amount. There were tons of problems in vanilla, obviously. There's stuff that's objectively like didn't work right, but they said they're fixing a lot of the well-known bugs that in the past they just kind of fixed by putting out expansions and patches. They're going to have those fixed just from the get-go, which sounds like a good idea. I hope they don't fix all the bugs, because there were some bugs that made like certain raids and dungeons way easier. Otherwise that would have been like impossible without it.
You mean going
Right.
into a doorway so the boss's AoE doesn't hit you?
Yeah, shit like that. That used to be exact. Like you had to know all those tricks to even do those dungeons. And that's the thing, they haven't said yet, because they didn't take a ton of questions about Classic WoW at BlizzCon about how they're handling stats and everything.
Hmm.
Because there were a lot of things in Vanilla WoW that were just like kind of retardedly strong. So if they take out like the buggy sort of cheats that people would use, but they keep in those super strong like ridiculous stats, that might be kind of an issue. I'm thinking like there's like a Hydra boss at some point where he'll knock you up into the air, and if you don't have someone to give you slow fall, you all die. But with the speed that you can cast it and the other debuff he has, it's like actually impossible to save everybody. So you have to like stand in a very specific spot in the doorway so it won't work properly because the game bugs it out. But
Yeah,
if
that's
they
always classic in games, like AI handle it.
yeah, you like tailor the AI, because that was a big thing in vanilla, obviously. So I'm kind of curious to see how they handle that.
Hmm.
As far as stat balancing, um, as far as like for PvP purposes, I think stat balancing they might tweak it a little bit, because like I don't know, something about a rogue having the ability to, if he has absolutely perfect rotations, he could literally solo people with no gear, and the only gear he has is like one gray dagger, like the inferior dirk that you get when you start the fucking game, and he's just like 1v2ing a couple of max levels.
Right.
Because consumables and everything were so overpowered in vanilla, like engineering and alchemy, where you have like these potions that are just ridiculous, and these little like gizmos and bombs that stun people for like 15 seconds. It's kind of nuts.
Yeah.
So you guys have the demo obviously because you didn't pay for the thing.
Yeah, I didn't get the pass. I already like do a bit of classic WoW here and there on private servers. Obviously, I haven't really been investing any time into those since I know now that they're coming out with official classic.
Yeah.
I've heard, I think Casper was mentioning something as well, like what's the point of releasing the classic WoW that's on a paid subscription when you could play vanilla WoW right now for free? I think the big part of that is just like the support. A big problem
Yeah.
is
Right.
it's just like having a big AAA studio behind that makes it so much better. It's like the classic WoW in the private services there was always like if your account got hacked, or if someone was like breaking rules or some shit, or gold duping, like they don't have the fucking resources to handle that, even if they wanted to. Or the other issue is just like player count. They would
Right.
they would go through the patch progression, and then once a server would hit peak patch progression, it would just kind of like die, and they would have to make a new one, and like there's no porting characters over, so people would just start again. Which that's the other issue, is what I listed before, is how they're handling patch progression. Because if you have this vanilla game, you have this vanilla WoW server where let's say that they do it similar to the way that private servers do it, where they start on patch like 1.0 and they move through it in the same time manner that the old WoW moved through patch progression. So after like a year and a half, the game's done. It's patch 1.9 something or whatever the one right before Burning Crusade was. Then what?
Right.
Like there wasn't really end game in vanilla. The game was just getting to 60 and then getting your max level gear from the raid. And if you got to that point, you were probably like a month before Burning Crusade came out. So I don't really know how they're going to do
Interesting.
that.
Yeah,
to
what's like
keep
the
players
long
interested.
time?
Yeah, what's the long
Yeah.
form? But
Well, so
I mean,
other than, sorry, Joey, you got one last thing.
No.
I
sorry.
was just stammering. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I was gonna ask. So, like, other than that, other than WoW Classic and all the like all the new patch previews, I guess they had for WoW, is that kind of it?
Yeah, that's basically all the things World of Warcraft that were released.
Yeah.
They have a new charity pet.
Right.
If you're into that sort of thing, if you care about people.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to talk about Hearthstone? Because this one, I think,
Oof.
didn't. There's not like too many announcements, but
They announced a new expansion.
right.
Yeah.
I guess kind of all they can announce.
Yeah, that's true.
I like the music to the trailer for it.
It's troll. It's everything about it's going to be good. The aesthetics are going to be good. The music's going to be good because it's trolls and they're the best. I like that when the troll expansion comes out, the new mechanic they introduce is overkill. It seems kind of. See, Greg,
mean-
now there's a new expansion to come out, so you can not have any of the cards for it.
Yeah. Woo.
I mean, there are definitely a couple cards in there that I think are just like super like knockoff, like versions of other cards.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, how many cards are in the whole game now, right? Like, they gotta have some overlap. Like, they can't all be unique to each other.
Well, so usually with expansions, they'll add like a new game mechanic. Like last expansion was Echo, which basically means you can play the card as many times as you want, but then once you end your turn, the card's gone.
That was the expansion previous to the last expansion. The last expansion's big mechanic was magnetic, Joey.
Oh,
Insect
I'm
effect.
sorry. Wow. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that's about everybody's reaction. I didn't really like the last expansion that much either. I didn't play any of it.
Wait, is that the mech one? 'Cause that's the last one I remember
Yeah.
seeing.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
mech one.
So I was talking about Witchwood.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
Do you
magnetic.
guys still play?
Yeah, I play every day.
Off and on.
Yeah.
I mean, Overkill, like it's like a fine like mechanic because like rush decks are really popular right now.
It'll be rushed with like a big. So let's say you slap something with like a charge double star, like that sort of idea of you do way more damage than you need to.
Yeah.
Right.
So so what's yeah. So I mean, so far like they've only released I think like what is it like 10 cards something like that. They look okay. Like nothing's really like wow, but like you also have to see the rest of the cards in the expansion, you know, because you
Yeah.
can't really like
Yeah.
judge it. Because like one of the cards is like an 8 or it's an 8 cost 1/1 summon like copies of the summon 6 copies of this minion whatever, but they haven't shown really any buff cards, so we don't know if that's gonna
How
be
they
good or not.
work with each
Exactly.
other. Yeah, yeah.
Every card review that comes out is like, and people say like, there's tons of videos on YouTube of like, oh, here's this famous Hearthstone pro or Hearthstone streamer talking about how garbage this card was. Then we all look back and laugh on it now 2 months later because now we have the whole expansion release and this card was like a huge deal and was really overpowered and had to get nerfed. Which is I'm looking at like Corridor Creeper, which was this. It was some worm thing that came out and everyone was like, yeah, that card's gonna be bad. And then when the expansion came out, there were a ton of cards that were really good with it, and the card was super strong. That sort of thing happens all the time. You can't judge.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm reading here 135 cards in the new expansion, and they've only released 10. You said,
Yeah.
Joey, so you don't know how they're gonna interact with each other. And
Yeah.
135 is the standard amount that they release with every expansion. They change it like a little bit sometimes, but
right.
But I mean,
I do like what you talked about, Joey. Like a lot of the cards that you see in the reveal are the ones they've been talking about are like watered down versions of other cards. So like it'll be like a white version of another card that's an epic, or like a rare version of a legendary, where it's just the effect like watered down and made less efficient. I like that because a lot of the expansions recently have been super legendary focused.
yeah, no, I don't like legendary folks, but I mean like so like one of the new cards, it was like a 5 mana deals 3 damage overkill summon a 5/5. and that's almost like Bane of Doom, which Bane of Doom is a 5-mana deal 2 damage if it kills a minion, summon a random demon.
But Bane of Doom is terrible because there's so many terrible demons
Well,
coming from.
yeah.
I tried to make Bane of Doom work. I really did, but that shit'll just it'll give you that stupid imp. When it was around, it would always give you the imp that like dealt damage to you for summoning it, or it'll give
Yeah.
you the card that discards your whole fucking hand if it takes damage.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, yeah, like it's a more consistent, but like it's not like a brand new idea. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm fine with like just minor expansions on older ideas, as long as they're alongside other new mechanical stuff, which it is. You can't have everything in the expansion just be like super new and different and weird, because that's what they did with Gadgetzan, and Gadgetzan was terrible because it was just so it was not balanced at all. Because how in the world could they balance something when everything they were doing was just completely new? Like there was so much ridiculous bullshit in that expansion. Like the whole Jake
How
Bones
many?
mechanic.
Right, like how many expansions do they put out a year? I feel like they put out a lot, right? Like 4 or 3. Am I wrong? Or
It's like every
less than that. But I think it's probably like two. I want to say like 2 every year, right? Give or take.
it's like 2.5, 3.
Yeah.
Look at okay, like in the last 365 days, you have had the new Hearthstone expansion. Obviously, the Curse of Rastakhan has been announced, and those come out pretty fast after they're announced. Like that's not too far down the pike. You've had the Boomsday Project, you've had Whispering Wood, or the Witchwood rather. What was the one before that? Kobolds and Catacombs. Before Kobolds and Catacombs, was that 2017? What was the date on the one before that?
Timelines are terrible with me, so I don't know when
Alright,
things
well,
came out.
yeah, it's in general, it's like 2.5 to 3 expansions per year.
I'll look it up 1 second.
Which, yeah, I mean, for a card game, that's the reason they stated for that is like they're competing right now with, like Magic the Gathering and all these other card games, and these card games have been
Right.
like decades. There's so many fucking cards for these, even compared to like what's allowed in the standard. Because card games always have like a standard edition and then like a classics edition, because you have things that are taken out of rotation.
right.
Even the standard editions of like Magic the Gathering still have way more fucking cards than Hearthstone, like all of it.
Well, there's also like more card games, game card games like Valve's doing their Dota one, and then Elder Scrolls has one, and then there's Gwent from The Witcher. You know what I mean? Like there's all these different.
Gwent is the only one that I really consider an honest contender, because Gwent is already out and it's popular.
Yeah.
I think Artifact is gonna fucking tank. I hope I hope happens with Artifact. I hope it loses Valve a ton of money and they have to go back to making games.
They're so flush with cash that it doesn't even.
I hope it just kicks their ass in how badly it fails. And then
Yeah,
as far as the Elder Scrolls one, I that could be 50-50, honestly, flip a coin. I'm sure it could either succeed out of the water or it could just go tits up like the moment it's released. Or like maybe it'll do that sort of slow crawl where it has that 2 years where it's kind of picking up speed and then everyone forgets about it. It's the game where like, oh, that game, I've heard of it. Wasn't that garbage on release? Yeah, but it's 2 years later and they've patched it a bit, so it's okay now.
Right.
Like at No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
sort
So
of
they by the way, they release 3 expansions every year.
3 of you.
Yeah. So
That's a good amount, right? Like I feel like
Yeah.
that's pretty.
I mean, I feel like that's a card each day, give or take, right?
Oh shit! Yeah, I guess you're right.
Right. Like I mean,
All right. So I guess other than the new expansion, there's not much. December 4th, it's coming out. That's pretty soon.
Yeah.
All right. Next game, Blizzard. Heroes of the Storm.
Heroes of the
What's going on
Storm.
there?
Ravioli, don't lewd the Raven Lolly. I like that they're coming out with new Heroes of the Storm characters that are just like from the Heroes of the Storm universe, the Nexus, because they've been building that lore for like a while, and most people haven't really been taking it seriously at all. It's like that. I think that's cool. Orphea, daughter of the Raven Lord. I don't know. Heroes of the Storm like doesn't take itself too seriously.
No.
You look at fucking League. It's so like They do like the pop star stuff with their characters for the skins, but when it comes to like the hardcore lore,
Money,
they've
money,
absolutely fucked themselves in the
money.
ass. They
Yeah.
used to League used to have cool lore. Now they've like they just decided to completely retcon every single thing.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, because Heroes of the Storm came out when?
2013, 14,
Yeah, I don't
Right.
remember.
15. No, it was a while ago. I feel like Heroes of the Storm really came out whenever Heroes of the Storm 2.0 was released, which I think was like a couple of years ago, maybe less, probably like a year back. I don't know. Yeah, like freshman year of college, a little bit before that for us is
2
when
years
2.0
ago then?
came out. Yeah,
Gotcha.
because that's when it actually like took off. Before that, the game had a lot of problems and.
Yeah, it did. I played that shit in alpha, and I was like, this shit.
this shit just don't work.
Yeah.
But-
And there's also just like a lot of stupid things. Like Murky used to just one shot people. It was like, oh, like every like 30 seconds. And like respawn time was like, oh yeah, like a minute. And it's like, dude, like I can keep going with this shit. Like, let's go.
You fucking like old Zeratul, just you just never know where he was because that was like the days of old stealth, and old Zeratul had all those like weird tricky things to get his stealth back. Just so Cody, like imagine give Tracer Sombra's stealth
Oh no.
and give her like a one-shot mechanic.
Oh no.
So like not only are they invisible and there's no way of revealing them easily without like really precise AoE, but they're also teleporting. So he's just like fucking like an intangible cloud that's like popping all over the map.
Yeah.
They got rid of that sort of shit. They're trying to make the game. The thing I like about here is that they don't balance it off the competitive scene, like at all. They balance it because they're like, hey, this looks fun. Let's put this in the game. They're not like, all right, let's make this perfect character who's only going to be utilized by like the ultimate Korean pros at the game, and you're going to be like perfect map rotation and fits exactly into the meta that we want. They make a character that has like 3 different build paths, and you can do whatever you want with them because it's heroes, and there is no
Right.
like set meta.
Yeah, that is interesting. I've thought about trying it again, but I don't know.
All MOBAs just take a bit to get into, especially because when you play it with your friends, you see these people who like understand all the map rotations and all the objectives and other characters, and it's just like a sea of particle effects.
Right.
I remember playing like League when that shit first came out. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I don't think anybody did. There's just a bunch of like monkeys running around with keyboards.
So I'm reading, yeah, so just the new hero is the main thing. You get a couple skins.
They were going
pack
through
of-
like art stuff.
Yeah.
What is it? I know like Janitor Leorc, like it was a meme like a really long time ago.
And they just made it into a skin.
Oh, that's actually pretty cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I don't remember what started that again. It was just like because he has this big doofy hammer and he was just sweeping around with it.
Yeah.
So for his ult animation with that skin, he better like just actually mop the floor. Because Cody, for this guy's ult animation, one of his ultimates you can choose is he's like this big ghost knight, and so he just kind of like phases forward and swings his mace in front of him a couple times. For
Right.
this animation, it should definitely just be him with his big ass mop, like sweeping the floor in front of him a few times.
The pictures look pretty cool.
Yep.
Yeah. Other than that, there wasn't like a ton announced for heroes. It's not like I don't think it's a title that brings them a decent amount of money just with microtransactions. Completely free MOBA, by the way, 'cause that's how you make a MOBA.
All right. What about I don't know, like
Warcraft
Warcraft
3?
3
They're reforging it.
Reforge?
I think that's really cool. People have been asking for a new Warcraft game for ages.
Right.
I think this is like their compromise. They're like, we don't want to just cut World of Warcraft's story off because we're still going at that game really hard, but we'll redo Warcraft 3 and bring back the online and like make it put a bunch of new stuff in there so that y'all can go back and relive your glory days.
Yeah, they're putting something similar for StarCraft, right?
They already did that.
Oh,
StarCraft
I
2.
had no idea it was even out.
It's been out for like months. The StarCraft 2 Reforged. It was the same sort of. The difference is that like StarCraft I say StarCraft. It's StarCraft 1 Reforged. StarCraft 2 is still like a game
Yeah,
that
still
people
got a
play.
pretty.
It still has like a pretty large fan base, so it wasn't as necessary as Warcraft 3 Reforged because nobody plays like the the servers aren't up. You can't play Warcraft 3 online anymore,
Right.
and you're not gonna get people like meeting up on LAN parties to play Warcraft 3 in 2017, 2018. Shit didn't happen.
So did you guys play Warcraft 3?
I actually never played the Warcraft games.
I
was a little
played
kid.
Warcraft 3 like very long time ago, like way after it came out. I didn't get too far into it because I was like, dude, it's like $20. I was like, sure, like I'll play it, like whatever. But like, obviously the graphics were a little bad.
Yeah.
Just I mean, not bad, just outdated, I guess.
No, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, it's basically any top-down, strategy kind of game,
Right.
It's a huge game, I think, for what it
Oh, yeah.
started. It came out in 2002. Like, I'm pretty young there. Like most of us are like 4 or 5. But
yeah, I guess
just
it is
think
true.
of what it launched. You know,
Right.
like the large. It started. The MMOs were a thing before Warcraft 3, but they didn't really take off at all until like WoW got big. You could look at like early RuneScape, but that was really niche. MMOs weren't like a thing for the common man at that point. They were a thing for like your sequestered basement dweller. Even though that's what the stereotype one imagines when they think of a World of Warcraft player, the reality is that it was like this big game that everyone was looking at the time when it first came out. It literally made MOBAs. It made that whole genre, which now gives us the most played game in the world and the highest paying like esport that's out there, League of Legends. Which, I mean,
Is it
there's
League of Legends or Dota?
well, there's a few steps. Obviously, yeah, it made Dota, the original Dota, and then League came out after the original Dota, and then there was Dota 2. League came before Dota 2. But Dota obviously launched League. League was made. It started out as like when they were developing it, it started as a mod for Dota. That was just how they started the development of it, and then they brought it out from that to distance it from Blizzard because they wanted to make their own game. So it was a mod of a mod that eventually became like the largest game in the world, which is pretty nuts.
I guess StarCraft 2. I don't know. A new co-op commander, whatever that is. I don't play StarCraft, so I'm not sure what that means.
It's like they've been releasing new stuff for the story mode. They've been kind of changing up the way that StarCraft 2 works, which is funny because it's been through a lot of like iterations as far as how that game functions as a game. But
I don't know if there's too
Overwatch.
much to say about. Yeah, I guess Overwatch is the next big one before we
Bob,
start
do
talking
something.
about Diablo. Yeah, new hero Ashe seems pretty cool.
She does so much damage.
Yeah, I played her on the. I don't know if you guys got a chance to
Oh,
play
yeah.
her, but
I have no
yeah, she's pretty nutty. Like I've seen some clips of these pros, what they're able to do, like Effect from the Dallas Fuel. He's like already insane as Ashe. It'd be cool to see what the pros like use her kit, how they use her kit.
See, what I like about Ashe is she's like Hanzo, but like a fair Hanzo. Like Hanzo does stupid amounts of damage, and like he's silent and quiet. Where like it's like compared to Widowmaker. Widowmaker's loud as fucking shit. Like every shot she takes is like boom, and but Hanzo's like. Whew.
Yeah.
And Ashe is like a good intermediate of just like okay, like she makes a decent amount of noise to resemble she does damage, but like she's also not like like she's a nice mid range.
Right.
I guess,
And ironically, that's exactly where she plays.
Yeah, her kit's pretty nutty. She's got that dynamite that lights you on fire. That'll be fun to play against when I'm Reinhardt.
I like the idea that seems like it was expressly designed to counter people who play like Hanzo, where Hanzo plays on a corner. You toss
Right,
that
so
shit
you
around the
pre-
corner.
yeah.
And you punish him for corner peeking because he's not going to see the fucking satchel getting launched at his head until you already blown it up and lit him on fire.
Right.
I'm kind of interested to see like where she's going to fit in the meta because she's one of those characters where I'm kind of just not seeing. And I mean, maybe just like standard DPS, kind of like Soldier, but
Yeah, a lot of people are thinking that it's gonna be like a 3 DPS meta again. So
I mean, better than tanks. Better than tanks.
Ash
Better than two
definitely
things.
counters dive pretty hard.
Yeah, especially with that shotgun.
yeah, like get away
I'm
from
just
me.
picturing like
So that'll be
throw-
fun against
throw the
Doomfist.
satchel in,
Yeah.
light everyone on fire, shotgun out, and push them away at the same time while dealing a bunch of AOE, and then your dive is just fucked. I
Right.
kind of like that because you can't have dive be too strong. It's just frustrating. Like
Yeah, like
I'm here like hold up with my Torb turret, and then a diva came in, some friends, and ultra dead.
I think the thing is right now is just Doomfist, so they're just like it
Hmm.
counters Doomfist pretty hard. Like he uses all his abilities to get in, and you just push him away. Now he's like, oh, okay. Genji ulting, that sort of thing. That'd be cool.
Dude, though
I-
Bob does a shit ton.
Oh yeah, the alt. I saw it the other day. Her ultimate Bob can cap the point. I thought that was so funny. Cap the point
Yeah,
behind.
dude.
They didn't
Like,
even notice.
That's
You can
such a
auto boost.
stall.
You can auto boost it.
Oh really?
Yeah,
you can auto
any
boost it.
buffs can be applied to Bob.
He counts as
Right.
a character. He counts.
Yeah,
in
it's like
every
it's
way.
another character essentially then.
You can wave hello at him, and he'll like turn around and wave hello back. Perfect.
Oh, interesting.
Like, I want there to be like a skin for Bob where he's a zombie, and I want when you summon him, he plays the charger sound from Left 4 Dead 2, because someone edited a clip of that where like she throws him out and goes, Bob, do something, and then you just hear like that really low roar coming out of him as he comes out. Something about it was just visceral and terrifying. Big fucking bot just blasting towards you, blasting ass.
I'm excited. We'll see. I think they should be releasing her shortly onto the actual game, not just the PTR.
Mm-hmm. It looks like they pretty much got her set. She has,
Yeah.
She's another new character that has CC mechanics, but they're, I don't know. It feels like fair CC to me, you know?
Yeah,
just like-
it's not
it's not hit a button and just you've now stunned an entire team and also given yourself a 400-point shield or some shit.
right. When I first saw it, I'm like, oh, thank God, more CC, thank God. But it's not.
It's not that bad.
There's a lot of mobility though, which I think will be cool. You'll see her, boosting up to high ground and stuff like just at the press of a button, which is pretty cool. It's kind of like a Winston leap if you think about it, huh?
It's up faster, but with just way less range.
Yeah.
I've seen the little high ground point at the end of King's Row. You know, that little like choke where if you miss the jump, you fall into the pit. You can make that jump.
Oh,
I was just looking up some of the text with it. I think you have to jump from a certain point though, but
yeah, that's pretty cool.
I'm interested to see where she goes.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll update you guys.
I think she's gonna be the new DPS to play 100%. If they don't reduce her damage, she's 100% gonna be like.
Oh yeah, well she's.
Well, the thing is,
obviously
right?
They're gonna tweak her.
Yeah, I assume they're probably gonna tweak her damage a little bit, but like her kit is kind of hard to use. Like it's not like anybody can just pick her up and start, doing like crazy stuff. Like when they reworked Hanzo, I remember that was a big thing. Storm Arrow, right? 'Cause it's so easy to use. Brain dead. Brain
Like
dead ability.
all of Hanzo's kit just revolves around like pointing your cursor at the enemy and hitting certain buttons that let you do it better. Especially once they removed scatter, because with scatter, even though it was bullshit, you at least had to understand like how to shoot someone in the foot. With Stormbow, it's like there's never reason to not be pointed at someone's head.
Yeah, and so this character Ash is kind of like it takes a little more nuance in her aiming and stuff like that. So I think you'll see her a lot, but I don't know if there'll be like really good Ashes like right off the bat,
Yeah. She's gonna be the new popular character who has strong numbers, and then people are gonna not understand how to use your kit. And I'm looking forward to that because I plan on being Farah and just diving a lot of dumb ashes who don't know how to get away from you properly. And they in reality they could just be sitting in the back, scoped in, aiming at you, but they're probably be like trying to get these really cool montage like satchel hits or knocking people off of cliffs, and making tards of themselves as they go about it. One quick thing, I was just thinking with Hanzo. Remember in the cinematic how he has his arrows and he like fires them at an arc and they turn in midair and come around and hit you?
Yeah,
What are they
That's
giving
the
that?
next rework, dude. That's the next
That's the
rework.
next rework is just imagine like right, you're aiming the ability and you see is like a like an arc, and as you move the cursor like up or down or whatever, you see the arc like expand and retract. So it rewards like incredibly precise aiming, but you get these really cool like curve shots that do more damage maybe. I just fucking hate Hanzo. Hanzo's a fucking stupid character, and I don't like the way they have him designed. That's just a little side note. Fuck Hanzo.
All right, the big one. Diablo Immortal was announced.
Blizzard has, and they never have, even when Chris Manson and some of the other people were like more involved with the PR, they have never known how to interact with their audience. They make great cinematics and they make great polished games, but goddamn if their PR isn't just the fucking worst.
I'm a little torn on this subject, right? Greg, have you heard about this whole debacle going?
The
Diablo Immortal,
Yeah.
like,
you don't have phones, like yeah.
it's kind of been blown out of proportion. I think both sides are kind of overreacting a little bit. It's like, I can understand from the point of the fans who pay. So previously, before BlizzCon, right, when they're doing all their push for buying tickets for BlizzCon, they announced like, oh yeah, there'll be some Diablo announcements. Don't get your hopes up too high, right? Because they announced like Diablo 4 is not going to be there, right?
Yeah.
But you should still be surprised. So like, what does that mean? So you're enticing people to come to this event, like the biggest Diablo fans in the world, right? This is like the hub of Blizzard community.
Like the 3 Diablo fans.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you just announced this mobile game, which is not a true to form, Diablo game. I get that part, right? I think the hate and the sending like death threats and stuff like this to like the developers of the game. You're just like a group of, like, it's totally blown out of proportion. Like the developers of the game have nothing to do with the idea, the concept of Diablo Immortal. It's the PR that don't send death threats.
Yeah,
But-
I mean, I don't really care about it that much. I'm not a huge Diablo fan. Like, I'm not a big Blizzard fan. It's
Have
no
you
skin
ever
off
even
my
played
back.
Diablo?
No,
So I
not
played-
once.
On PS3, I got Diablo 3. It's a pretty good couch co-op game, and I was thinking of picking it up on the Switch because they just like announced that.
Especially when they rebalance it, like they've added a bunch of new stuff, just little DLC bits. That
Yeah.
Malthael.
Yeah, I totally get that people don't want, because mobile gaming is like the worst, just in general. Like loot boxes, free to play, the whole idea of like that cash grab stuff.
Wait
that came
2
from-
hours or pay $2.
Exactly right. That stuff came from, and it kind of invaded
Ryan
the
Reynolds
actual
playing
games.
Toon Blast.
I don't want to. I don't want to talk about Ryan Reynolds playing Toon Blast. Casper, cut it out. I don't want this to even be in the podcast.
Just think about it. You're sitting back. You're watching some Hulu.
Watching some Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
You're watching some Brooklyn Nine-Nine on Hulu, and then Ryan Reynolds just
Ryan
playing
Reynolds,
Toon
Ryan Reynolds
Blast.
doesn't have arms. Ryan Reynolds is telling his daughter to fuck off because he's playing Toon Blast, which is literally just like a matching game, and there's a bear in the top left. I don't even fucking. We're moving on from this.
Yeah, I totally get, like, mobile gaming is not like the pinnacle of game. There are some odd exceptions, right? Like trying to think of some Monument Valley, won a bunch of awards when that came out. It's kind of puzzle games, stuff like that. But it's not, you don't find your hardcore games on mobile.
Come join us YouTubers and play Lineage 2.
But dude, you have to be an
Trying to
idiot
play-
if you don't think that they're working on Diablo 4. Like they are. Like just chill. This is like a supplemental side thing. It's not. If it's not for you and you don't like it, don't show your don't play the game. That tells Blizzard, all right, no one's playing this game.
But they're also completely retarded because they announced this mobile game.
Yeah, you have to kind of expect.
Lied. They could have lied and said, "Yeah, a PC port is in the works," even though maybe it wasn't at all. But like,
yeah,
you can't expect. Blizzard makes almost exclusively PC games. Hearthstone is a mobile game, but it still has a huge PC following. You can't expect that.
Yeah, exactly. But it's also a good thing because that means Blizzard's not working on it. They're working on actual games that you want to play, right? They're outsourcing it to like this Chinese company who has experience making mobile games. It's not, Jeff Kaplan's not working on this game. Just for example, I know he's an Overwatch guy, whatever, but it's like so your favorite developer's not working on this. Your favorite game is going to come out. It might take 3 years, or whatever. It's kind of a long time, but it is being worked on. You don't have to send death threats to these poor Chinese people.
Here's the thing: I don't know where they're gonna go with Diablo. They the last expansion. They basically ended the universe. Like they exposed like the angels as they're actually not angels. Diablo and a lot of the Lords of Hell are just fucked. I know that they've been fucked in past expansions, but in past games. But even in those games, they were defeated in ways where it's like you didn't kill them, you like trapped them in the soul of a person or something, or that sort of shit. I have no idea where they would take a fourth Diablo game. Like I am at a loss.
I think with a property like Diablo, just make some stuff up. I don't know. I don't think I could be wrong in saying this. I'm not the biggest Diablo fan, but I don't think the lore is really what like fans really liked about Diablo. I think it's more like the gameplay. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, it's definitely a gameplay focused game. The lore doesn't play into the gameplay much, if at all. But it's Blizzard. They need something to have that
right
make it. Like they don't, especially with something like Diablo, which is a very it may not factor into the gameplay a lot, but Diablo has a very well established lore. It's it's all very concise. It all fits together. It makes sense.
Right.
Even there's aspects of it where you look at it and you're like, I'm pretty sure you guys just did this to make an excuse to make a new Diablo game, but I'll say go for it. Like make a new Diablo game, sure. Let's see where it goes, but I have no idea how.
Yeah, when you guys pick up your Switch, we should just play some Diablo 3. Actually, pretty good.
Well, I'd have to pick up a Switch first.
I'm probably gonna get a Switch for Christmas.
Hey, get it for Smash Bros. That's what everybody's getting a Switch for.
Dude, I'm getting a Switch for Smash Bros, Zelda, Odyssey,
Prime 4.
I'm gonna pay rent.
It's probably something else.
Prime 4 in like 3 years.
Dude, fuck your rent, Greg. Come on. just tell your landlord. Hey, I just bought a Switch. I hope you understand.
Be like, if I just stop paying rent, but I get the Switch, you can just come up and use it.
It's like, yeah, why not?
All right. I guess.
We have any final notes?
Man,
yeah,
Christmas is right around the corner, guys.
Yeah, Christmas is right around the corner. Happy times. Greg's gonna put up his tree soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'll find one.
Craig's gonna just drive Dylan and Lilia probably and his Eastern European roommates to suicide with the amount of Christmas music he'll be playing.
How early is too early?
Greg's probably already playing it.
I like Christmas. I don't know.
Is all the answer I need. That he 100% has been already. Greg, you have to wait till after Thanksgiving. That's
like next week, like before Thanksgiving. I could give that a pass.
No, it's that's you. I don't know. Anything before Thanksgiving, it's like, look, we've got another holiday already. Like, don't I already bought you one toy. Don't ask for another one before you've even played with it. Like, and like maybe it could be at the start of Black Friday. Like Black Friday shopping starts, and there's Christmas music playing over the loudspeakers. Like, you know what? Do it. Fuck it. Well, that's very representative of the holiday.
You see, the thing is, I also need time to celebrate my birthday.
Oh yes, that's right.
Greg, you lament your birth every day. Why would you celebrate it one day out of the year? That seems like kind of against your character.
Well, no one else makes the effort to forget about Christmas to celebrate my birthday, so I might as well.
Greg, you're looking at the birth of Jesus Christ and the birth of this man. Some guy, some fucking like a Bill Nye substitute looking ass.
Hey,
It always makes me laugh when like Jesus Christ like wasn't born in the time everyone says he was. You know?
100%. Like people fail to realize that area of the world is really fucking cold in Christmas. So just like a baby like in an open manger. Yeah, no, he dead.
Yeah.
yo, holy shit, he dead.
No. Oh, people's like, the red on Christmas is to celebrate the blood Jesus shed for us on the cross. I feel like we're getting these final notes are getting a little bit wayward.
Well,
We're gonna start talking about Jesus, and we're gonna start talking about we need to start killing Republicans.
okay.
wait.
Oh,
No politics.
okay.
Oh, okay.
How could you
little
just say
a
that so
happier note.
controversial but so brave?
I think we can edit this out, and I think we should.
Cody, happy now. Happy.
Okay, happy note. Toy Story 4. You guys see the trailer?
Yeah, it's not.
happy note.
It's not happy.
That's them making Toy Story into another animated franchise.
Tom Cruise.
All right, you know what? Fuck your Toy Story 4.
Pokemon.
Pokemon, Detective Pikachu. Ryan Reynolds is Detective Pikachu. Mr.
I'm on
Mime is made
board.
of plastic, and he's gonna touch you, and you
I'm-
don't want him to, but he will.
I'm 100% on board.
Yeah, art style is nuts. It's very. I'm just
Realistic.
surprised this movie is happening. Like it's
I'm
so
like surprised that
weird.
it exists.
It's like
Yeah,
a
just-
fever.
It just kind of came out of nowhere, and it's also definitely finished shooting. Like they're just
Yeah, like,
editing
it's-
now.
No, they're just editing it
done.
in
It's
Pikachu.
just
Well,
so
it didn't come out of nowhere. They've been talking about Detective Pikachu for years.
You never really think it's gonna happen. You just
I
like.
assume
oh,
that from the moment they talked about it that they were gonna do something with it, whether it was a
it's
series
puttering around. Yeah,
puttering on the
it
background.
actually looks pretty cool though. Like
I'm definitely
the
gonna. I
style.
definitely want to see it. I'm just
Yeah, I'm, like,
concerned
gonna
that Danny
watch it.
DeVito isn't Pikachu.
Danny DeVito,
Pokemon.
trust me, Danny DeVito's gonna make a cameo as Mr. Mime.
They're
Or
gonna
Dig
make it.
Dug.
He's gonna be Meowth.
I always thought he was gonna be Dig
Did you say,
Dug, and he's
did you
just gonna
say Dig Dug? Do you mean Diglett?
not Dig
Yeah.
Dug, not Dig
Dig
Dug. the
Dug.
arcade game.
From the fucking
No, but you just picture
What a
Danny
game!
DeVito
What a
poking his-
game!
poking his brown head out of the ground.
and he goes like Diglett D. Or it's just like the Meowth character, if there is one. I don't know if there is literally just him in a suit. It goes back to the old post. Like it's just Danny DeVito in a suit, he's just walking around, and nobody acts like it's weird. Like every other Pokemon is in their own weird little CGI art style, and then one is just fucking Danny DeVito.
It's like that's just Danny DeVito. And no, it's not even a Pokemon. It's just Danny DeVito pretending to be a Pokemon, and everyone's just letting it happen.
This is definitely gonna be like the start of the Pokemon expanded universe.
Yes,
You're gonna see all sorts of
PCU,
movies.
Pokemon Cinematic Universe, PCU. I want to see it.
Let's go.
Wait, quick throwback to when they released that movie in theaters of like it was like the extended cut of Ash saving Pikachu from the Spearows, where he gets like basically he almost dies, and then there's like that really touching moment, and then Pikachu talked, and all those reactions came out of people in the theater. Like Pikachu starts talking to Ash with like this teenage girl voice, like it's because I want to be with you, and everyone in the theater just going, "What the fuck?" like
Should've-
actual reactions of people just going, "No."
They should have just pulled some Mario shit and made him super gruff. It takes all colors to make a rainbow, Luigi. Except black.
Oh my god.
Okay, that was loud.
All right. What else? Is there other wrap
What
up
else?
news?
I think that's
That's
all the
everything, so
topics we
Stanley's
had.
still dead.
Yep, and that's not changing.
Join us next time when we talk about
Stan Lee still being dead.
Stanley being dead.
The exciting developments on Stanley's decomposition.
Aw, rest in peace. Rest in peace, my man.
We're just gonna start every podcast with, "All right, guys, welcome back. Stan Lee's still dead."
Stanley update number 12.
Here's your CNN 24/7 coverage of Stanley's dead. It's gonna gonna be on Netflix because people are gonna talk about the media, like, oh, all these Stan Lees are dying because the media is glorifying it. Welcome to Netflix, making a Stan Lee dead.
Oh, yep. All right, I think that just about wraps it up.
All right. Well,
Thanks for listening,
joining us.
everybody.
For those of you that are here, smash that like button. Follow me on 50/50 on Reddit.
Follow me
Visit
on
Reddit.
LinkedIn.
Visit r/watch people die. Listen on Spotify. We are there.
Yeah, we are on Spotify now.
Same
Google.
name as it is on YouTube. We're on
And
Google
Google on
Podcasts. We're
Apple.
on Apple Podcasts, Apple Casts.
Hey, Goo Goo.
What?
All right.
You haven't seen that video?
I know the video, but just what?
It's just a video.
Irrelevant.
It's just-
Joey, we're plugging here. Don't.
All right, smash that like button. Follow us on Twitter. Smash the bell button. Follow us on
Slap it.
Twitter.
You said Twitter twice.
Like my MySpace. Put me in
we're
your
on
top.
it. We're on Instagram with no posts.
Top for us.
We have an Instagram. I don't know what we're gonna use.
We also
Yeah.
have a Twitch. Follow us on Twitch. Might stream sometimes.
It's
I
just
don't know.
your stream. It's not the show. It's you.
Anyways, smash that bell button.
All right.
Fade. Cut to black. Sopranos. It. Just cut to black in mid sentence.